You were right, Hirsch. We're talking about values and we're talking about being comfortable or awkward in sales conversations because a lot of people are. So, welcome, Hirsch, our message whisperer.
Our the message therapist.
I
I had a
combined
huge
us.
conversation this morning about that was very therapeutic, but it also was a sales situation where I was the prospective buyer, and I felt like this is uncomfortable for both of us. And I don't. And what I wanted to ask you, Nancy, the sales whisperer, is
Sales messenger.
messenger, is it ever not uncomfortable to have a conversation about a sales transaction?
Of course, there are times when it is comfortable, or as you phrased it, not uncomfortable. Yes, absolutely, there are times, and that's exactly what I'm all about, Hirsch, is to help people feel that confidence when they walk into a situation, even sight unseen, you've never talked with somebody before. If you know what to expect in that conversation, and what I mean by what to expect would be their personality style, then it's going to be a lot more comfortable for you, and you don't have to be uncomfortable, Hirsch.
Right. Well, I think that that we're where value comes into it is that if you don't know your value as the seller and you're concerned about value as the buyer, you have an overwhelming amount of discomfort, a paralyzing amount of discomfort. And so that's where I think that connection is so important, is before you go in before you go into this conversation, whether you're the buyer or the seller, you need to know your value, know what you're bringing to this, and have confidence about what you're coming to the meeting with, because we know the eventual part of the conversation is, if it's not already, is going to be sales in some way. That's going to happen.
Yeah. I think what you're raising, Hirsch, is the fact that for most people, the word sell, it's a four-letter word, and they automatically have a mindset walking into a sales conversation thinking that it's transaction. Now, I looked up that word sell because I too was kind of stumped by the fact that does selling always equal transaction? And I found out that a definition of selling, the one that I prefer, is the word influence. Every time we enter into a conversation with another person, we are probably influencing them to think along the way that we're speaking or thinking. So, hence, we are influencing that conversation. Sales equals influence. It doesn't have to equal transaction. And I think it's the transactional mindset that really makes sales uncomfortable for some people.
Yeah, very, very, very well put. I think that, if you think about it, a TED Talk is the greatest example of selling. The purpose of a TED Talk is to change the minds of the audience in a very short amount of time and get them to think about something new. Now, it isn't getting them to buy something. It isn't about the product. It's about thinking differently, and that's what selling is. I love that. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so the buy-in is buying my ideas. It doesn't have to mean, like you say, an actual exchange of money. But in a TED Talk, it's a great example. In fact, our know and sell pointers are really all about, are you buying what we're selling, so to speak? And right now, we've made no offers to you as an audience, but are you buying our point of view about marketing and sales?
Yeah, our vibe. We're vibing really more with people than anything. I mean, we will get to our event, and we will get to areas where we are putting ourselves more out there as a resource to you, and why we think know and sell go together so well and are so important. But really, this is relationship building. That's all this is. And the importance of that is something that can't be underestimated. Nancy, in what you do, share a little bit about that relationship building with different personality types.
Well, as you know, I'm all about that. My latest audiobook is called Stop Selling, Start Relating. Because, again, it's not about transacting business, but it is about cultivating, nourishing, developing relationships. Because in the long run, you might make a sale today to somebody where there's no relationship, but they may then reject it, return it, badmouth you. I mean, is that worth it to have made the sale without the relationship? I would have to argue no. So relationships is where it's at. And that's the reason why I personally am disgusted by what's called pitch slapping. I don't even know if I like that term, but you know what I'm talking about. And it's the person who, without a relationship, is immediately saying bye, bye, bye.
Yeah, yeah, and I have mixed feelings about that, Nancy. Obviously, actually, which is that I feel like directness is really important, and it puts me off to think that somebody's coming with one thing, but they really want to come at me with another. And so directness is super important, but so is relationship building. So I try to connect with people upfront with the idea that I do a certain thing, I offer a certain service, I play a certain role in society is almost how I look at it. And that's what I'm putting out there, but it doesn't mean that I'm only interested in you if you are the buyer to that product. So,
I would like to suggest that directness, maybe it's transparency as opposed to directness. Because yeah, we're doing this because we both want to make a living, but we're also doing it because each of us, I can speak for myself, I'm passionate about helping people who develop skills so that they get more business. And it's something, again, go back to that they're comfortable in sales conversations, and not only comfortable but successful, i.e. profitable in these sales conversations. So I'm going to suggest that direct is really being transparent.
yeah, transparency is a better word, because and I do appreciate it. Meanwhile, when some people reach out to me, even a little bit cold, and say, "Listen, I want to be really straightforward. This is a pitch. I have this to sell. Are you interested in this? Do you want to know about this?" And the odds are I'm going to say no, but I do appreciate the directness, because it's saving maybe some other ham-handed segue from some kind of faux friend outreach or whatever it is.
So I want you to address, if you would, Hirsch, the idea of comfort when it comes to the message, because I think that having a clear message, knowing what you want to say, what you want to communicate, also adds to the comfort level in a sales conversation.
I think that I have a background in comedy, and one of the tenets of comedy is a basis in reality. And the more real you make the comedy, or the more specific you make the joke, like it's not just about a fish, it's about a spotted fish, it's about a one-legged fish. The more specific you get, the funnier the joke is. And I feel the same way about messaging. The more specific your message, the more comfortable people will be with you, because the more they trust that what you're giving them is something special. And my argument is that everybody is special and that everybody is unique, and we should be celebrating our uniqueness. And yes, there's strategy, but I think that it's that specificity that makes us impactful.
And I've seen you in action, Hirsch, working with clients that we've worked with together in terms of helping them really hone in on their unique gifts, what makes them special. Because when you speak that message of your value and what you bring, it absolutely will resonate with the right prospects. Hence, that's why it's so important to pin down your message as well as know what you want to do in terms of a call to action.
Yeah, circling back around to that discomfort and value equation, uh, that's the big pointer today is really know yourself, because that's going to make you a better negotiator. It's going to make you a better salesperson. It's going to make you a better customer. So know yourself as well as you can going into that meeting, because that's going to change the entire tone and tenor of your exchange with whomever it is you're meeting.
Right, right. Well, we've covered a lot of ground, and we welcome you, the audience. Go ahead and give us some feedback, give us some questions, some comments. We're curious to know how you're receiving our know and like pointers. And going forward, we've decided that we're going to do this just on Tuesdays. So that will help you mark it on your calendar, Tuesday at noon Eastern time. I know the European community and the Down Under community, they haven't yet changed their time. So I got tripped up this week several times trying to meet with people whose time frame was different than mine.
Oh, I had my share of fun as well, because unbeknownst to me, I was flying on a day when we changed the clocks, and I didn't miss anything, but it was just between being out of the country, so I was on a different country's time where they weren't changing clocks, but the airline was. But I was like, why is my trip so long? But anyway, yeah, get aligned, zone in, zone in on our know and sell pointers once a week, Tuesdays at 12 Eastern, and we will be unveiling little tidbits going forward about what's to come in terms of our larger event plans.
Right. So, especially, we're looking for topics that you are challenged by in the marketing sales arena. And the reason why we keep putting them together is because I see marketing and sales as a continuum. Marketing is filling the funnel, and then sales and marketing inside the funnel are working together to develop the relationship. And then sales has to close, is the one that's actually bringing that prospect and turning them into a client. So that's why we're looking for your challenges in that continuum.
Yeah,
Final words?
thank you. Yeah, I was going to say that the messaging runs through
Yeah.
the entire cycle of
Mhm.
building your brand, marketing your brand, selling your brand, and then continuing that relationship and that evolution, because we're always evolving, hopefully, and
Yeah.
we're always looking for new challenges, hopefully. So the know and sell aspect is going to continue to shift. So that's why it's good to know where you're at on that continuum and what your challenges might be.
Yeah. To your sales success, it's Nancy Zaire, the sales whisperer.
And Hirsch Repun, the message therapist.